Welcome back to the shop. I hope everybody is having a great day. Today I'm going to show you how I make an oak desk that my company will be using as a secondary tech bench for our engineers. This desk is 36 inches high and it is 60 inches wide and 26 inches deep. The face frames, the trim, and the drawer fronts are made out of solid oak, and pure bond oak plywood is used for the cabinets and the top. Usually it would take me about 3 weeks to make this project, but I actually took care of this in 1 week. So I'm pretty tired and my back is killing me. So it's time for some R&R. Anyways, if you want to see how I build a desk, just stick around, take your shoes off, stay a while. I'm glad you're here. Oh, I need a haircut. And we're going to kick off this wonderful woodworking project by breaking down all the sheets of plywood on the Boar Centipede Sawhorse. I really like this plywood. This is Pure Bond's red oak plywood from Home Depot. I think I'm going to keep using this plywood because it's 3/4 of an inch thick, which really helps me in my SketchUp designs. And now we're going to accurately break down the sides to the cabinets. Next, we are going to cut out all of the stretchers for the front, backs, tops, and the toe kick. And then we're going to Snoop Dogg them on the miter saw. Mother of God, I need to do something about the dust collection on that saw. And as I break out the pocket hole jig, please notice a sticker on my bench that is from Including Spore Woodworking. So go check them out. They are awesome folks. Now we're going to break out the bane of my existence, the dreaded jigsaw, to cut out some toe kicks. God, I hate this thing. I just want to get a big bandsaw so I don't have to worry about this stupid thing. Now back to the pocket hole jig. We are going to cut out some pocket holes that will attach the face frames to the cabinet. Now it's time to attach these stretchers to the sides of the cabinets. Here is a good pro tip when installing stretchers with pocket holes. If you want them to stay in place and not move when you tighten them up, use a pin nailer to tack them in place temporarily and then tighten your screws. Now we're going to attach the opposite side to the stretchers. This is a little bit difficult because you got to get them kind of square and flush. And it gives you a kind of a little bit of a resistance. So just take your time, you'll get it. We are going to now mill out all of the pieces for the face frames. This is 4/4 oak from Home Depot that is S4S, which means surface 4 sides. So these were actually incredibly flat and straight boards, and I was very surprised. They worked out very well. And as you notice, I do not have any clamps for my T-tracks yet. So I had to clamp the face frames down to the workbench, and it slid around a lot, and it was very difficult to do. But eventually I got it, so it turned out fine. All right, next pro tip, if you're going to cut runners for drawer slides for the cabinet, make sure you use the same plywood the cabinet's made out of, because this is 23/32 of an inch thick pine plywood, and I used Pure Bond, which is actually 3/4 inch thick. So when I put these stretchers on, there was a small gap between the face frame and the runner. So yeah, I had to go back and shim a couple of the drawer slides. And now we're going to cut out the top and the frame support pieces. So when you're making these frame support like this, it's a good idea to cut your pieces a little long and then sneak up on that cut so you have a perfect fit. Now it's time to cut out the trim pieces for the tabletop. This trim is actually a 1/4 inch wider than the full width of the top. This is going to create a little bit of a lip that you can reference your cabinets on. I should have used more clamps. Now we're going to sand the top. I actually sanded this for a long time. I started out at 80 grit and worked all the way up to 320 grit. Now I'm going to stop in the project and put a couple of coats of lacquer onto the cabinets and the top. It's easier to do this now and then not having to mask off any kind of drawer slides or any kind of hardware after you install it. I also finish sanded everything to 1500 grit. Now I'm ripping down some strips for the drawer boxes. This is 1/2 inch pure bond birch plywood. This plywood is actually 1 inch thick exactly, so the measurements on the plans for the fronts and backs are very, very accurate. And now we're going to cut all the drawer boxes to final length. I'm using the Brad Rodriguez spacing method here for the fronts and backs. And then I batch out the bottom pieces for the drawer boxes. And then we're going to cut the drawer boxes to final length. These drawer boxes are going to be a bit oversized. Okay, so funny thing here is that I actually did not set up my Craig jig properly with these cuts. So when I went to actually assemble the drawers, these screws were poking through the side. So I had to end up attaching them a different way. And same deal here, I sanded all the parts before the drawers are assembled, starting at 80 grit all the way up to 320 grit. Now I'm going to use some Rockler corner clips to assemble the drawers with crown staples and glue. And now we're going to tack the bottoms into place. This bottom is a little bit oversized because we're going to use a router, and we are going to flush up the sides to the drawer box. Next, I'm going to attach iron-on edge banding. This is still not my favorite operation, but this time I used a sharp chisel to trim the edges. This actually worked very well. Then a fast cap sanding block is used to ease all the edges of all the parts. And then we continue to apply the edge banding. Then I used 120 grit sandpaper to clean up the edges. All right, so next I am going to take the boxes inside the garage and set up the centipede sawhorse, and then we are going to finish the boxes with 3 coats of shellac and then let them dry. And while the drawer boxes are finished drying, we're going to go ahead and mill down the parts for the drawer fronts. The drawer fronts are going to be made out of solid oak and birch plywood to give them a two-tone color. Next, we're going to use a cope and stick bit that has a decorative profile on it to mill all of the parts for the glue up for the drawer fronts. We'll stop right here and thank everybody for watching this video. I hope you're enjoying it so far. All the tools and everything you see in this video will be in a link in the description below. Also, if you like this video, go ahead and hammer that like button, drop a comment below. And if you feel that I deserved it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I'll have a bunch of new videos out in the future. And after milling down the drawer center panels, we're going to put a 3/8 inch rabbet on each of the sides of each panel. This will be accepted by the rails and stiles of the drawer front. Some Type Bond 3 glue, and we're going to put each piece in and carefully removing the glue squeeze out. And on to more sanding. As always, each piece is sanded up to 320 grit, starting at 80 grit. Now it's time to use the Spags method to install the drawer rails to the drawer boxes. Put the drawer on a flat surface and then reference the drawer slides on that flat surface, and then flush up the fronts. Then screw in the rails. This will give you a perfect spacing for the rails every single time. Now it's time to install the drawer slides to the cabinets. This was very tricky because these cabinets are only 13 inches wide. So there was not a lot of room to screw down the screws, and it took me a minute to get it perfect. Now we are in the home stretch. I'm going to use this little dirty jig that spaces each drawer front an inch from the side. And then we're going to use a 1/2 inch piece of plywood to get the reveals between each drawer. We're going to attach the drawer front to the drawer box using some pocket hole screws. Next, we are going to permanently attach the drawer front with a couple of screws. After that's done, take out the pocket hole screws, and then we're going to drill another larger hole into the drawer box to accept the hardware screws. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hammer that like button. And also, give me a comment below and tell me what you think about it. Also, if you like the video and you like the channel, go ahead and subscribe, and we will be releasing a lot of videos in the future. Thank you so much, and have a great day.